Don't crash, don't crash, don't crash. YouTube Studio. If you guys didn't know, I went live last night. Content. And I did a live one. I think my top selling monetized video has made $3.65. I think. I don't know for sure. The Qs. And we're just going to look at the 4-hour. Going to run that a little bit. We're going to take this back. Hi, Penny. Hi, Penny. We're going to do some... I think I'm live. Okay, let me just go check. Oh, I guess this didn't update last night. I guess we need to update that one. The update we'll try again later. That's okay. View your channel. And then live. What do I have? What is it? MetLife? Prudential? I don't know. Peyton Manning's on the screen for me now. Nationwide. Nationwide is on your side. See, that's how good a Peyton Manning commercial is. I don't even know what he's promoting because the dude promotes everything. Okay, and we've got Western Conference Finals. If you didn't watch the Rangers game last night, there was an own goal. They put the puck in their own net. This now goes away. Let's see. Biggest movers of the day. SMCI. NVDA. And at some point, DELL is going in the core portfolio. It is. It is. It is. Yeah. Okay. Oh, I should get the link for this one. Oh, I do have the link. Okay. We're going to go over here and do some scans. Market scanner. I'm on early. And people don't come on until 8:30 anyway. And I'm already going to be started. Let's see. Scans. Uber. TSM. I mean, this one's never pulled back. Uber, it started to fill the gap. Hasn't filled the gap, but it will. I don't like the negative moving. Negative moving 50-day, but oh, I gotta sneeze. Choo! Excuse me. Okay. Do not disturb. We're gonna go to brokerage holdings. Uber's the only one. Do I have DELL in my brokerage holdings? Let me see. I do. It's in the watch list as well. Problem is, I've got to take one out of the core portfolio to move DELL in. That's kind of been my thing is, hey, 30 stocks, 35 stocks is a lot to manage in a portfolio. You know, when you add in your ETFs and things like that too. So it's a lot. So I don't want to willy-nilly move one in. Nothing in Bitcoin. Covered call ETFs. I did alter the covered call ETFs with QQQY or X, sorry. QQQX. SCO. Does SCO... does oil have more to fall? Leveraged ETFs. Oh. This is... SDS, FNGD, HIBS, BERZ, SPXU, SQQQ. We got a cross up in SQQQ, but I would argue do not short. Do not short. Do not underestimate this market. Leveraged ETFs. Low cost Vanguard. Morning, Joshua. Nothing in spider sectors. Let's do the watch list. Uber. Not owned. Pfizer. That's an interesting one. PBW. Abbott Labs. PBW, I think that's the, clean energy ETF. Okay, let's go to the Dow. I don't think there's anything in the Dow that's crossed up. Nope. Let's see. NASDAQ's going to have a bunch. Well, not a bunch, just a couple. On Cintas, NXPI, BKNG, I might as well put that one in there. Global Foundries is down. Why did Global Foundries go down? Let's see. GFS. Dilution. Hold on 1 second. Okay. Dilution. That's why it went down. Dilution. I had to blow my nose real quick. So let's go to the S&P. S&P. Booking, Abbott, Pfizer, Lockheed Martin. Has been a killer one. Strategy tester. Go back to the 4 hour. Look at that. I mean, the 4 hour has kept you in, even with the downturn here. It's kept you in from 423 to 469. And you look at the weekly, it's just kind of, you know, all the way back to it was trading here February 2022. So if you were waiting to get your money back from February 2022, you've gotten it back. Plenty of trading opportunities on that one, but let's look at the Qs, and then I'm going to open up all of these. Let's just make sure we're going to go to TrendSpider.com. Product and plans and pricing. 60% off. There we go. Let's see if there's something on yesterday's that stands out. Rig is still the biggest buy. Nothing crazy there. Natural gas up. NASDAQ 100 up 1.14%. We're going to open up a lot, so. Okay. Nothing there. Go home here. We got futures are way up on the NASDAQ. 1.3%. Say you have a $5 million, you know, for shits and giggles, you have a $5 million portfolio. 1% is $50,000. So if you just had QQQ, you're sitting there with $50,000 gain. They don't want me showing quant stuff. I should say Snowflake strong guidance, spikes price. We're going to put Snowflake in there. Let's see if let me see if ELF has anything. If there's a story on ELF, there should be. On guidance. That's crazy. Let's go look at this. Because ELF. That's nuts. I mean, look at ELF here. So it doesn't look bad. You know, 4-hour algorithm, 2 candles a day. It has you in, has you out right before earnings. It got you out, you know, got you in at 162, got you out the candle after 167. You can clearly see about 168, 165, somewhere like that was the buy. Good morning, Chris. And if we go to a 5-minute chart and we include the extended hours, That's what you like to see. All the way down to 153, all the way back. I mean, would I have bought this if I were a beauty consultant? Absolutely. Because you look at that support level, it's coming back to that support at 164. You go back to the 4 hour, and we turn off that, and we run this. That 164, I said that was the support. So clear as day that you were coming back to that if you wanted to buy it underneath there. Doesn't mean I'm taking that trade, but, that's an interesting one. So I'll go over that too. Okay, let me open up these links. We're going to show off this. There's a little hint on that one. We're going to do Earnings Whisper. Let me see. I don't have it open. Earnings Hub. We're going to open that. Oh, we have deck today. Okay, so we got that one. We got big Tesla news, but I'm going to close that because I already have it open. We have StarBucks filling the gap. We're going to do that. Citi. Don't sleep on Schwab. That was a great call there. That's Moderna. We're going to go over this. Biggest movers of the day. We'll open up Snowflake, ELF, Taiwan Semi. Wow, I didn't think I was going to have an hour-long show today. I'm going to have an hour-long show. That's just a brilliant trade. I actually think, kudos to you. Fortune goes to the brave. Because that was a great, great trade. Okay. And we're going to start off here. Hit the thumbs up button. Making money as a value investor. Oh, I am not a value investor. Ooh, God. Oh, my body. My body getting up in the morning. I need to start doing yoga again in the morning. Okay, I'm going to hit record. I know there's a bunch of people that aren't here that probably will join in. So, good morning. It is the day after NVIDIA Day. If you haven't seen the Ashley Madison documentary on Netflix, again, I'm not just a Netflix investor. I'm also a subscriber. It is really good. I mean, it's fun to watch. They say it on there. It's fun to watch people's lives explode a little bit. It's interesting. I didn't know all the details of it. I still think that the CEO is a schmuck. But I knew that when he was even out there doing, interviews about how great he was, blah, 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 blah. But the whole thing, yes, we're going to talk about NVIDIA. We're going to talk about my portfolio. We're going to talk about CrowdStrike. We're going to talk about ELF. We're going to talk about possible trades that you might want to do. We're also going to look at a couple of trades that I've suggested over the time. But the NVIDIA one is what we're going to talk about. But I want to talk about my portfolio first, okay? Because some people have asked me, hey, your personal portfolio, what does it look like? What do you trade? Blah, blah, blah. How do you do this? We had GCT come out, big blow up over the past few days. I invested in it. I said I went big in it. I did go big in it for me. But I want to make sure that everybody on this podcast knows, A, my personal portfolio will probably never be completely disclosed, and that's because I don't want you following me totally. I want you making your own decisions. And that's the basis of it. The only reason I do alpha picks, and alpha picks is a portfolio that is for the buy and hold crowd. And so if you're new to investing, if you are somebody who isn't used to doing fundamental analysis, meaning the PE, meaning all of the earning stuff, meaning whatever the peg is, forward peg, reverse trailing 12 months. If you're not used to that, alpha picks is your portfolio. And that's it. My portfolio is not yours. We all have different risk tolerances. Even Alpha Pick says pick 5 of theirs, or you can buy the entire thing. But, again, we'll go over GCT. My personal portfolio, just so everybody knows, it's Apple, it's Microsoft, it's Amazon, and Google. Then there's 4 or 5 ETFs. And that makes up 85% of my portfolio between just that. Maybe 7, 10 names, 9, somewhere in that neighborhood. That's important because when I tell you that I buy into some things, it's less than 1% of my portfolio. Even when I go big into something new, it's usually less than 1% of my portfolio because I am such a big buy and hold person. So when you ask me, hey, what are you trading in? Yes, in my retirement accounts, I trim sometimes. But we've talked about when I trim, it's typically not very large. And when I do trim very large, I'm very open about that. And I am very open about the reasons for that. And I want you to make sure that you're not following me, but you're making your own decisions. Some of my larger holdings, NVIDIA. I had no idea I had as much NVIDIA as I did. Last night, I was going to buy more because it got to 938. Let's just go to NVIDIA right here. I mean, I'll go back to the Qs. The Qs were perfectly fine on. But I want to show you the 5-minute A+ setup. And this is what I was looking at. I was live on YouTube last night with NVIDIA earnings. I was going to go live with the paid subscribers. And I said, let me just go. I want to show you yesterday what actually happened. So this 939, I said, hey, if you can get NVIDIA under 950 yesterday, I thought it was a good buy. Now, obviously, that was a gamble. We didn't know what the earnings were going to be. We knew they were going to beat. We didn't know what the guidance was going to be. We thought it was going to be good. Turned out it was better than expected. Obviously, the stock is up. Now, here's what you want to see on this 5-minute setup. And this is in TrendSpider. And I provide this to you. It was free in the newsletter. So even if you didn't sign up with me through TrendSpider, you can still get this, but I have the best offer for TrendSpider. I will guarantee you it's the best offer. But here is the 5-minute setup. And I've said this before, the entry is significantly more important than the exit, specifically on NVIDIA. Look at that 939. Did it time the bottom? No. But you're coming off a low RSI. Your MACD down below the oscillator. You are looking like you're going to get weak, but then in the last half hour of the market, all of a sudden, NVIDIA started shooting up. Something happened. Your 50-day started to turn, okay? Then you get this candle, and the low was 919. You went down to 919. Now, if you had put in some type of order, you might have filled. There is one person in the world that got 919. There is one person in the world that got below 950. And that's it, because at that point, it was off to the races. Now, where did the 5-minute algorithm get you? The 5-minute, and again, I say this algorithm, it is more about the entry than it is the exit, because I want you to watch the charts for weakness. Because you can see here, would I have gotten out at this point? Probably not. Would I have gotten out at this point at 945? Probably not. Again, you're under 950 and earnings are coming up. You're just looking for an entry. But later in the afternoon, would I have added at that 939? Absolutely, I would have. So it's more about the entry. You want to go in small and you want to do this. And I say this all the time. Size matters. But with NVIDIA, this was the 5-minute play. Now, if we go, again, I'm demonstrating TrendSpider for you. If you go to the 4-hour algorithm, where does the 4-hour algorithm have you in? It has you in at 8:38 on April 26th. You are sitting really pretty if you bought at 8:38. Now, are you sitting pretty back here if you bought at 974? Absolutely. This is just one of those stocks you want to look for the entry. 898 was the other one. 511, way back here in January. Don't you wish you would have bought then? My algorithm makes you 460% in NVIDIA. Over 24 months, there's 19 positions. What do you make if you buy and hold 488%? So it's about the same, but it's more about the entry than it is the exit. How do you use TrendSpider on this stuff? Well, you take a look at the weekly. So again, we've gone from 5-minute to 4-hour to weekly. And you can see we're in an upward trend. We have confirmation. The Bollinger Bands here in December, clearly cinching up, contracting. And they expanded. And they're going to expand again because you started to see this. Now, did I know this was going to happen? No. The RSI is at 71. That MACD is super high. They threw the kitchen sink at this one, but I did not know that I had this one. Some other large positions I have that are doing pretty well. I'm still underwater on one of my lots on SMCI that I bought up here at 1,068 because I bought the entry. Again, I'm just looking at the entry. Am I looking to exit this one now? Am I looking to buy more? Well, I probably should at 926. SMCI is up 6%. That's another big one that I have. Another rather large position that I have, MPLX. MPLX, totally different industry. It's oil. It puts off an 8% dividend. We talked about this one. This one has just been a solid energy play with the dividend. Another big one that I have, PanW, AMD, Shopify, Coke, Meta, Pepsi, Crowd, Walmart, Target, and BLDR. Not all of those are winners. But my point to you is that I wanted to point out when I go into something like GCT and you guys decide, well, Gary's going into it, so I'm going to go into it. It doesn't hurt me. Size matters. And when I say that, I'm going to put the eggplant emoji up there. Size matters. Eggplant emoji. But again, you have to make sure that your portfolio is not with something like GCT, which is a high, or even NVIDIA, which is a highly volatile stock. Do you want 100% in NVIDIA when it goes from 900 to 1,000? Absolutely. Is it likely that you're set up there? No. Again, NVIDIA isn't even in my top 5 names, but it's a large enough position that a 5-figure has turned well into a 6-figure investment, and I've added to it along the way. That's what the core portfolio is about. So if you follow the core portfolio on Savvy Trader, that's what it's about. It's 35 names that are ones that you can trade in and you can buy at certain price levels and be perfectly fine, in my opinion. Are they all like that? No. I mean, Boeing's still in there. And I've said Boeing was a buy at $210. I bought at $210. Am I out of this one? No, I just think that the earnings come around and it'll be okay. But it's a long-term play. And have I gotten out of it? I would have been smart to, but I haven't. So where are we on the Qs? The Qs were at 461. We're up 1.25% in the pre-market. It is soaring. If you have an ETF, you probably have exposure to NVIDIA. If you don't have single stock exposure to NVIDIA, I would urge you to get single stock exposure. We'll go over why. But the Qs have a large portion in NVIDIA. It is part of the Mag 7, the Grade 8, whatever you want to call it. What we've seen is reducing volume in the Qs. You're probably going to see an increasing volume. We talked about divergence. If you don't know what divergence or anything that I'm saying, go to dailystockpick.substack.com. And what you're going to do is just scroll down to the education section. And you're going to take a look at things that I've done as far as the education goes. And you're going to take a look at divergence. You're going to take a look at PE, golden cross, death cross, cross up, confirmation, MACD, button hook. I have it all here. How to find stocks in a choppy market, because that's what you're in. Fundamentals of Peter Lynch focuses when to picking stocks on, and a ChatGPT prompt that will make you a better investor. Creating the Alpha Picks portfolio. We talked about Alpha Picks. I just chose 5, and I said, hey, we're going to get these 5. So if you don't know what this stuff means, the newsletter is free. Education part, I provide a free 7-day trial on this one. So go and sign up. It's worth it, and you support the podcast. Now, we talked about Qs. I'll go into NVIDIA, but Qs, we have confirmation. We're going to open up at 461. It looks like about 460. That puts us well above here. This old support down here at 407, this one's gone. This entry at 407, which I said was support, it's gone. It's gone. Were you upset, when you bought at 426 and it dipped down here to 422? Or I'm sorry, 418? Yes. That was for a day. A day? Were you upset if you bought here at 432 because you said, hey, we have confirmation, and then it dipped down here to 421? Yeah. Not great. But again, it's a long-term buy and hold game. A lot of these names, you just want to dollar cost average your way in, because when we look at the long term, yes, it's extended. Even when we look at 461 on this one, does this look different than something like this? No, it still looks the same. We could start to see the June and July pullback that we've seen in the past. Is it a buying opportunity? Absolutely. Do you want to buy now? Well, what's your time frame? So not only does size matter, time frame matters as well. So when we look at the Qs, again, that's how you use this. Now, if you want TrendSpider and you want to use the 5-minute algorithm, the 65-minute algorithm, the 4-hour algorithm, and you want weekly charts, it's on sale. Memorial Day, 60% off. You get 6 months free. 6 months free, 4 days. Sign up today, tomorrow. Take your 3-day weekend. Set up your chart. Set up your indicators. Set up your algorithms. Set up everything that you want. And again, it becomes plug and play. Part of why I don't like sitting and doing live stuff with you guys as far as trading, I don't like to sit and watch charts. TrendSpider automates that. So go ahead and try it. It is absolutely the best charting program I have ever used. It allows me to have a life, to be able to, I had a job before this. If I had TrendSpider when I had a job, I'd have been doing much, much better in life right now. So let's talk about NVIDIA. There's a couple of things. They killed it. They announced a 10-for-1 stock split will happen on June 6th. You want to buy this before June 6th, because I think on June 6th, you're going to see a little run up. Now, it hasn't always worked right away. Remember, a stock split today doesn't mean a whole hell of a lot. What it means is you're just getting 10 stocks for one that you own. It's nothing to do with the fundamentals of the stock. It's just making it cheaper to buy. But with the fractional shares, where you say, hey, I want to just buy $100, it's going to buy you $100 worth of NVIDIA. So it really means nothing other than the options market. It will make it more volatile. It will allow them to give out more shares at a lower value. It just allows a ton of things, but it's a 10-for-1 stock split. This could be a meme stock. At a 10-for-1 stock split, retail is going to be in there. So get it. They raised their dividend also. They just announced, they threw the kitchen sink at this one. And, it was all about the data center. When we look at the data center, it's up 427% from last year. 420. When you see this, you look first quarter. We just announced first quarter. This was look at these. This is in the millions, okay? And you look at these numbers continuing to go up with the guidance. And that's where the AI stuff is. And if you don't think that Blackwell will increase the demand, again, you have a moat in AI. You have a backlog in demand. You have a 10-for-1 stock split. And you have retail taking hold. Add to that, I just did this chart in Seeking Alpha. This is the PE. This is the trailing 12 months PE. It just got cheaper. It just got cheaper based on these earnings. So if you didn't want to buy it at $9.50, I think you should buy it at $1,000 because it just got cheaper. It just got cheaper to buy. So again, I can't point it out. I think NVIDIA is one of those Apple kind of stocks for the next year or two at least. AMD, same kind of thing. If they can get their AI chips to the point that NVIDIA has it. Now, Qualcomm is a great one. That's in the core portfolio as well. And Qualcomm is in the core portfolio. They are the chip for self-driving for Volkswagen, which is the largest automaker in the world. Toyota is the largest. I think Volkswagen is but Volkswagen's using Qualcomm. Apple's using Qualcomm. And you know who just announced a partnership with Qualcomm? It's Microsoft with their AI PCs. That's why Qualcomm's in there. Do you want Qualcomm? Do you want anything? Buy an ETF if you don't want. These Dell earnings, these NVIDIA earnings, huge overhang. You can look at Dell. Dell is reporting next week, and we'll go over a couple of the earnings from next week. Dell is reporting next week. How is the algorithm done? It's made you 240% over 24 months at 21 positions. I started buying back here at about 113. When I saw this gap up here, I didn't like it, so I waited. I bought, I think, at 115, 116, somewhere that I tried to time the algorithm. The algorithm knows. It got you out here with a 20% gain. Could have gotten out with much more, but the algorithm knows. I am not trading this name. I am looking for an entry into this name. Dell is a fantastic buy. It is one of the overhangs because they just announced a deal with NVIDIA. They're going to be, SMCI and Dell are the two data center server installers. So these guys will get an overhang, just like SMCI has an overhang. So Dell is up 6.71%. SMCI up 6.41%. Do you want to buy it? I'd say just buy it. You've had a crazy run up since the last earnings, but I think their earnings are going to come in good, and I think you're going to have great guidance. So I'd say just buy it. And again, that NVIDIA valuation, you want to see some stuff, super micro gains and NVIDIA earnings. It gets an upgrade to buy from Bank of America. SMCI, strong buy. Strong buy. Now, if you like what you're seeing on this, get Seeking Alpha Premium. It's 20% off when you use my link right here. Again, we talk about how I manage my stuff. I use the tools: TrendSpider, Seeking Alpha, Alpha Picks. Now, Seeking Alpha and Alpha Picks, it is two separate subscriptions. Seeking Alpha Premium is only $189 for the year. For the year, commercial free, and you get access to all of the quant stuff. You get everything. Plus, you can set up your own portfolio. You can set up your own tracking. You can find stuff. It is really good. So super micro, again, a buy. And that's where I got this from Seeking Alpha. You guys ask where I've gotten that tip. It was from Seeking Alpha and the quant. Go over to Taiwan Semi. Taiwan Semi, another overhang. Expect semiconductor industries annual growth to reach 10%. Huge. Taiwan Semi, strong buy in the quant. Again, there's an overhang to all of this. Let's talk about some of the other earnings. We can talk about ELF. Let me see. ELF killed it. Here is ELF. ELF killed it. Let me close that one. Where is... That's Snowflake. Wait, we're going to go to ELF. Sorry. I'm clicking on some stuff. Here is ELF. ELF Beauty shares dive. Downbeat guidance overshadows above consensus. But I want to show you something because it did dive. And when we go to ELF, what's interesting about ELF is this 5-minute, again, the 5-minute gets you a great entry point. Here on the 4-hour, you're not in. You're not in. It got you out at 162. But if you go over to the 5-minute and we just say, okay, we're going to look at this A+ setup to try and find an entry point on this. You can take a look at this. Entry point, 156. You're up at 163. But what I want to point out to you is if you use ELF and you said, the guidance is bad. The TikTok ban probably hurts them. You know, the target earnings probably a indicator. But what I said was this 164, if we go back here to a 4-hour and we look at this chart, well, you're kind of capitulating around this 150, 160. If you go to the 4-hour and you look, we're going to turn off this after hours. If you look, that 4-hour right there, where does this line kind of start? It's old resistance, because that was where the initial pullback happened back in January. Okay, this is a 4-hour chart, so each candle represents 4 hours. That was where this initial one happened. So as you were pulling back, where are you looking for? The last portion of resistance, that's where it was. Because you had already passed this when I drew this. And I said when we were down here, this is the last resistance. Look at how it used support right there. Okay, it went through that support, but I said, hey, if it goes back above this, you can use this as old support as well. So now it used this as support. Are you upset if you bought here at 164? You're trading at 164. But if you believed in this stock and you said, you know what, I want to look for this at a 5-minute, and you just listened to their report, look at that, 16 hours. You've made 17.56%. It's even more because, again, the 5-minute candle goes up. That's 18%. So, yes, has the 5-minute gotten you out of this? No. But I tell you, the entry is more important. And when you see the MACD is super, super low, it crossed up here. When you see that the RSI is in an overbought territory and it's moving up, that's when you want to buy. So TrendSpider helps you do all this. TrendSpider is a great, great tool. When we look at Snowflake Q1 revenue outlook shatters expectations. Snowflake is surging up 8% in the pre-market. Well, it's now 4%. But if we look at Snowflake, and I've said this before, I'm going to go back to the 4-hour algorithm because this is not one that you want to trade on a short time frame. I would argue that this is one that you want to trade on a price basis. And we look at this, 150 was the entry point on the 4-hour algorithm. So you're looking for an entry. Again, you're using TrendSpider to try and find the entry. And when you look at the weekly, I have said this before, there is a trading range in here. 150 is right in the middle of that trading range. Did you want to wait until you get down to 130? I said no. I said, I don't know that it's going to get that low. You can see the candles are kind of capitulating. Do you really want to buy at this 144 level? Maybe back in April, but this earnings just shattered it. Understand, it's trading at 171 right now. This is going to 200. So what you wanted to do was buy based on this 4-hour algorithm, and you wanted to basically find an entry point because you're seeing the capitulation right there at about 150. Got you in at 150. You had confirmation, and you had confirmation going into earnings. Your MACD, not super high, a little bit above the oscillator. Your RSI coming down off of overbought levels. But you have this gap up here, and it's probably going to 200. What you want to do is when you get over 200, you want to take a look at it, and you want to get rid of it. So let's take a look at some of the biggest movers of the day. Again, it's NVIDIA. It is Snowflake. It is DuPont, which gained 5%. They're going to split into 3 companies. Biggest loser is VF Corp. They lost 11%. They missed. Again, retailers, it's a tough, tough business. One of the tough ones of recent is GCT. And so what I wanted to point out is on April 17th, Steve Kress from Seeking Alpha Premium, he wrote about GCT. Strong buy stock is the real deal, SA Quant. And he talks about how the SA Quant team decided to investigate the delayed filing and short report claims. This was the first short report. Yesterday, there was another short report. This involved meeting with GigaCloud CEO and visiting the 300,000 square foot warehouse in New Jersey. They completely trusted it. And on that article, and I will link that article in the newsletter, but on that article, and this is what I sent Steve. I said, since you wrote that article, you're down 30%. And yes, yesterday was another short report, which brought it down to about 24, I think. The low was 25.22. But when you take a look at the market being what it is, and I say this often, any reaction in the market is an overreaction. Now, there's a couple of things I want to point out. The overreaction, it got you in here at 27, okay? we finally start to see a confirmation. People started come back into this name. So the 5-minute got you in. It still has you in. You're at 31.22 right now in pre-market. It's, again, I don't know where this stock is going, but one of the things that I will point out to you on the 4-hour is that the 4-hour got you out before this big loss. It got you out with a 7% loss, which isn't bad. You had the opportunity to get out earlier, but it got you out with a 7% loss. Now, over 21 months, the algorithm makes you 254%. That's where it protects you from the downside. You're not winning all the time. You're winning 44% of the time. Your average win 44%. But what I want to point out to you is, yes, there's bad news in this stock, but look at the weekly chart. Okay, we're not really coming back. This one popped on its IPO up to 60. Yesterday's Kramer video said it. They popped. They had some crazy stuff. It pulled back. This is part of the reason why I don't like IPOs. Then all of a sudden you had this short report down here, and then you started to move up. Was I mistaken to buy at 60? Absolutely. You got your Bollinger Band cinching up right now, and you've got the MACD super, super high. Your RSI is coming off 60. It was up near 80 and 90 at this point. So you've got it coming down. It was clear that it was due for a pullback. So I don't want to say that this was a mistake. I don't want to give up on this one. I do think dollar cost averaging your way in is good. What worries me are two things. And this is when I go and look at GCT here, I go down and I look at the insider sales. And we talk about insider sales all the time. Look at all these sales. Now, I didn't know this when I bought it. I learned this yesterday in a little bit more digging. I just don't understand this. The short report yesterday, there were a couple of concerning things. The main one was that they had spoken to ex-employees who said that there was an issue where there was manipulation of the earnings. So I don't want you to go out and sell this one. I do think dollar costing your averaging your way in is the right thing. But I worry about those insider sales. The other thing that really worries me is when I go and I look at this article and I scroll down here, they say they went back and they took pictures of the warehouse. They did a lot of stuff. And the concluding summary, look at the comments. So go and look at this article and look at the comments. You can see the short report right there. What really worries me is that I haven't heard from the Alpha Picks team. And the Alpha Picks team reached out to them for comment, and I haven't heard anything back. I don't think they've heard anything back. And that's what kind of worries me. So if you wanted to get out of this one, I completely understand. But understand, we go back to what I talked about in the first thing. My portfolio is mainly made up of 5 to 10 kind of big stocks and ETFs. The rest of this is just and yes, when I say I went in big, it's $30,000, $40,000, maybe $50,000, and I went in there. But at 10, 20% down, a 5, it's not going to change my life. The life-changing one will be Apple pulling back to 100 from 200. That will be life-changing. The big one will be Amazon pulling from 180 back to 100. I don't think that's happening. And that's why I say size matters, and it matters when you're managing your portfolio. So let's talk about some opportunities. Because I did notice yesterday, mRNA, which is a former core portfolio position, but it was in there only for trading. It was kind of like Roblox. Hey, trade this one around this price. This one's soaring. I mean, this one is unbelievably soaring. It is down 1.7% at 160. There was a report yesterday with bird flu that Pfizer and Moderna, will go into Pfizer next, but Pfizer and Moderna are in talks with the U.S. government about a bird flu vaccine. It's not COVID. It is not COVID. Bird flu will not be COVID. And I think the American people are vaccinated out, to be honest with you. I think there's still some susceptible folks. But bird flu, I'd say go plant-based. I am mostly plant-based. I eat some beef every now and then, but it's more for compassion purposes that I went plant-based. I tend to not eat chicken, and it's just, more of a choice, but I do like chicken. But again, Moderna, it's just been on a tear. If you look at the weekly of this one, look at that 200-day. It's probably going to provide some resistance. So when you see Moderna and you see a stock like this, We talked about GCT. It's important to go back and look at longer time frames and longer moving averages, because longer moving averages tend to provide you some layer of support or resistance. You can clearly see here back in October where Moderna used the 200-day as support. It used the 200-day as support. And back here in May of 2023, it lost all that support. So it went down. It never fully gained back support, but you've got the 50-day starting to move, and you've got the 200-day holding steady. So I wanted to make sure you guys knew about that one because, I don't like this company. I'm not a big vaccine guy. I think they misrepresented to the American people and to the people of the world that the vaccines were going to eradicate this. I know it's science, and I know they didn't potentially know, but I think they could have been a little bit more tepid versus, hey, this is going to change, this is going to save us all and blah, blah, blah. I think it helped, but I don't think that it, I think we might have been fine without it the more that we know. Now, Pfizer. Pfizer's an interesting one because it got a buy in the algorithm at 25. You were at 29. That's an enormous move. Now, I have sold out of this company. I sold at about 30. I am not necessarily looking to get back in, but everything I read about this company with some of their recent stuff, this one might be going back to $40. Their pipeline with some of their most recent acquisition stuff has gotten much, much better. So I want to keep an eye on this one. Now their average win is 4%. You're up 14% on this one. But if we go and we look at the weekly, do we have a turnaround? We don't have the 50-day moving yet. We just have confirmation over the 9-day. Look at where the 200-day is. It's at 40. So if we sustain this pullback and it comes back up, again, this might be a YOLO one, but you might be able to make a nice 30% gain in this if this company's on the turnaround. So it's an interesting one. There's your healthcare. And to show you kind of that I may know what I'm talking about, we can look at UNH. This is a core portfolio stock. And the reason it's a core portfolio stock is not because I love the company, but it's a stock that you buy under 500 and you sell over 500. They are past their earnings. We talked about how, they had decent earnings. This is one of the largest cybersecurity breaches of all time. I don't think that it's over, but you have a golden cross. Now, when you look at the weekly, and I pointed this out. I don't know if it was paid subscribers or free. I probably brought it up to paid first. But when we looked at this, and this was around this time, I said this 450 is going to provide support. So we were looking at this, I think, in April at some point. And I said that 450 is going to provide support because look at where it bounced off of. First, in June of 2022. Second, March of 2023. Third, June of 2023. Now, what you have to know about support and resistance lines, the more points that it touches, the more validation you get. For any line, minimum is 3. Any line, minimum is 3. Again, this is how you use TrendSpider. But look at that fantastic bounce off of 450. Say you bought it at 450. Right now, you're sitting on a nice 15% gain in about 1 month. So that's how you use this stuff. And again, UNH, great one. And I'll post these charts in the newsletter. I want to point out Schwab was down yesterday, 4.6%, down to 75.27. It retreated based on some comments from the CFO that called Q2 earnings unlikely to be higher than Q1. CFO says, but I don't want you to sleep on this. He put some really good quotes at the end of that. So it's not all doom and gloom, but he put some really, really good quotes at the end of it. This is a stock that I think you buy on pullback. Do you buy it today? Don't know. Again, Citi, the algorithm has you in at 73. Right now you're trading at 75. That's not a huge point up. Algorithm makes you 68%. Buying and holding makes you 23%. Average win 10%. So this one protects you on the downside. You've had some huge, huge gains recently. Look at that, 31% over 68 days. This one just got you out with a 12% gain, but it got you back in. It thought it was going to get out around earnings, but it got you right back in, and it continued to move. Long term, and I say this, I've written this before, look at that $86 price. That's going to provide some resistance. You can see here, provided resistance, but then you had a bank failure and boom, you went down to 40. So Bollinger Bands expanding, 50-day positive, could have a golden cross on the 200-day. I think Schwab, don't sleep on Schwab. The other one that I bring up in the banking sector, and again, we're just going over trade ideas, is Citigroup. Citigroup, we went over the book value earlier this week. And you can see the algorithm has you 4.1%. You've got an average win of 8%. So you probably still have some room in this one. Do you want to buy here at 63? It's kind of turning over a little bit. Again, we're Thursday on a week where NVIDIA just released their earnings going into June. There's not a whole hell of a lot of catalysts that are going to push this one. Do you want to wait to see if the market kind of soothes off a little bit? Maybe. But if you're in this for a long term, I do think that you could probably get into Citi. Now, me personally, I own Wells Fargo. It's not in the core portfolio, but I do own a good portion of Wells Fargo. The reason was I was saying back here, buy it under 40. That was just October. I said it was a great opportunity to buy it under 40, and I was adding under 40 all the way from June 2022 to October. Now, I haven't added it since. It's at 60. I'm going to look at trimming this one. And the reason I'm going to look at trimming is because the all-time highs back here in January 2018, you've got a gap, but it's at 65. There's a potential that this one hits 65 and pulls back. I'll look at taking some profits because you saw it was in a trading range here. But I don't want you to fall asleep on that one. We can look at Bank of America, which is a core investment. I think $30 was the buy on this. You're at $39. When we take a look at the weekly chart, you can see start of COVID, pull back 2-week support levels. Old resistance turns to new old support turns to new resistance, and old resistance turns to new support. You've broken out above that. So you couldn't hold it the first couple of times, but as you got here to October and you were trading at 26, you went through it and you went right through it. Now you've got a positive 50-day. Where am I going to look to trim? Probably in the 48 to 49 section. So when you're managing your portfolio and you're looking at these things, again, banks probably have more opportunity to get back to where they were. There's some issues, but, again, I point this out to make sure that you know that managing your portfolio, I don't go over it a lot, but that's what it is. Let's look at some recent trades that might have been a great opportunity. Again, you look at this one, Boyle, this is natural gas futures. And 16 days, you're up. Let's kind of drag it up to today. Well, that's 19 days and you're up 56%. Say you just read my newsletter and you said, hey, I'm going to buy this at 19. You're up 18% in 5 days. Again, you just read my newsletter. Starbucks, we talk about gap fills all the time. Starbucks, I said, hey, you finally got confirmation in Starbucks. The buy here was $75.31. You're at $80. Where does the gap go all the way up to? 88. Do you want to make 10%? This is a name that was broken. They're addressing some things. Charles Schultz may be coming back. Who knows what they're actually doing, but the gap fill is there. The gap fill is there. I think this one's interesting. At this point, I think this one is interesting. Because again, the valuation of this is not crazy. It's just the same store sales have gone down. So you do want to see a fix on this one. But I do think that you come in and you play this one as a stock that could rebound to 88. Is it going back to 100? That's a little bit of a stretch. When you look at a weekly on this one, you can see it is just broken down. It is broken down out of that range that I said it was trading in. Where was the ultimate support? It's down here at about 70. So if you buy at 80, you could see a pullback to 70, but that would just be a situation where you would buy more. Now, Zip Trader brought up Mara. I brought up Mara because Mara had a cross up on the algorithm, and it's in one of these crazy things. The likelihood that this one continues its run, probably pretty good. It's at 21.23. I own this one at 26. It's a super small position, But you've got a lot of people who own this above this, and they're still holding on. When we look at a weekly of Mara and we take a look, you can see, I'll put in a little line right here. The actual resistance was right here, you can see, right here you can see, and where it's trading right now. So you can look at that line right there at 1855. You want to put your stop loss in, put it in at 1855. Buy it at 21. Do I think that it's going to get up here to its previous highs at, let's see, to do 83.45? No, it ain't going to get up there. It ain't going to get up there. It will probably go to 29. 29 is where it went right here. So 21, not a bad fill at all. DELL, we can talk about DELL. Again, we talked about the overhang of NVIDIA earnings. DELL is one of them. Do you want to get into DELL? When we look at the weekly on DELL, it's soaring. It's soaring. But look at the volume. The volume has picked up. The RSI super, super high. In my mind, this is just one that you buy and hold. Now, do you want to buy it at 157, right where it is? I'd wait a couple of days. Let's see if it happens. I think their earnings are coming out next week. It looks like the 30th. That's Thursday. Might be interesting. They just announced a partnership with NVIDIA. I put Microsoft. I have to change that so my notes are right. But they just announced an NVIDIA partnership. The other one that we talked about earlier this week, ETH, because of the news that maybe the ETF is coming out. I said it's a buy the news story. It's a sell the actual event story, but it's a buy the news story. You're at 32. Algorithm got you in at 21. Again, using TrendSpider to try and find your stuff. Now, Tesla, this is big news, and it's not getting enough attention. They just broke ground on a $200 million factory in Shanghai that's going to make storage batteries. That's going to make the batteries cheaper for them to sell the cars in China, because they don't have to ship all of the batteries from here over, their current gigafactory is just in Nevada. So they have to ship everything over to China. It's at 182. Let's take a look at the chart. Again, let's take a look. We find the news story and then we take a look at the chart. The chart on Tesla is right here. Great trade. You know why? 4-hour algorithm makes you 129% versus losing 14% over 2 years. 22 positions once a month. It got you in at 177. You're trading at 180 right now. I think this one is probably going to make a little turnaround. Now, the valuation is crazy. It doesn't have the retail trade like it used to. Elon's gone a little bit nuts. Yes, I think that 101 was a support level that I was looking at, but you can see it bounced off this 130, 140, and it's been holding about the 180s ever since. The 50-day wants to hang on to that 200-day. So I think it's interesting. I think it might be a buy opportunity. You might be able to run it up to 200. That would be my play on that one. Now, we have a couple of earnings to talk about today. There is DEC and there is Intuit. My personal opinion, DEC might be your play. Last time they beat earnings by 32%. Now, understand, this is a high flyer, and they pointed out last time that there was weakness in their in their Hoka brand. And that's what Deckers is currently putting their stuff on. This is one of the S&P 500, I think, top winners of the year so far. It has been in a straight bottom left to upper right territory. Now, 825 was the buy in the algorithm. Algorithm makes you 170% over 24 months. It's up 271% over 2 years. So your average win is 11%. And part of the reason why I think there's an opportunity a little bit, but not much, you're at 9%. So, 9% gain. So when you get up there, it's a little bit of a gain. It might be a risk. Intuit is the other one that's reporting. But, I did mean to bring out, look at the earnings expectation, $2.87. What they report last time, $15.11. Reported revenues, $1.56 billion. Again, the revenues have been brought down, so it's lower expectations. But their comps are going to be tough to deal with. So Intuit, on the other hand, I wouldn't trade this one necessarily. It's just been capitulating. That's a hard chart to trade. You got Okta next week. Let's go to Earnings Hub because I want to show you next week's earnings. We're going to go to the next week. We've got Okta, we've got Ulta, we've got Dell, we've got Costco, we've got CRM, and we've got Zscaler. Earnings Hub, my favorite earnings website. So if you want. Social requests. Joseph from Spotify. Yo, you mentioned Lulu yesterday. Which Amazon brand is like Lulu? I'm asking for a friend. If you're asking for a friend, these are the shorts that I bought that are exactly like Lulu. $38. I think I got them for $29, to be honest with you. I will include this in the newsletter. Not that I'm a fashion brand, but just to read you a couple of the reviews. Stephanie says, I lost some weight and all my pants and shorts aren't fitting. Replacing said shorts and pants was going to be expensive, so I looked at alternatives and found CRZ Yoga. I bought 2 pairs of them. I'll likely be buying more. Also going to try their pants. Crazy value here. The second one from Sliced Potato is the name. Actually like Lulu, but a third the price. You've seen the Fabletics ad that claim that their stuff is like Lulu, but a third of the price. Straight BS. Their clothing isn't bad, but completely different than Lulu. Only cheaper. These shorts are actually like Lulu, but a third the price. They are actually like Lulu. They're designed for golf. I wear them when I work at MLS. I'll include this in the newsletter. So if you're not a part of the newsletter, if you don't, if you want TrendSpider, take advantage of the sale. The Memorial Day sale is going on. You click here on the link tree. The link is listed right down below, linktr.ee. And you can take advantage of this sale. Get almost 6 months for free. 4 days left, 60% off. Use my link, and then what you do is you go up here to the upper right and you email me. Email me and say, hey, here's the screenshot of the email that I signed up for with TrendSpider, and I want your algorithms. So you're going to have Friday, you're going to have Saturday, you're going to have Sunday, and you're going to have Monday because it's Memorial Day weekend. You're going to have all those days to set yourself up. And how do you set yourself up? Well, you go over to the Daily Stock Pick newsletter, and you go to this this education the paid section. You can go and see this. Here we go. And we can go to the top paid ones. Let's see. When to sell, confirmation, MACD, button hook, President's Day, TrendSpider using, my setup. I know my setup's in here. I think I include it in the news, in the welcome letter that I do. Let me see. Let's try and look up. We're going to look up setup. TrendSpider setup. Indicators I use. Oh, there's the part 2. Where's the part 1? Let's see. We're going to do TrendSpider part 1. Nope. I guess not. It's in there. I'll include it in the welcome letter. I know it's in there. Finding stocks in a choppy market. We're just going to... Maybe I view all and then I go by most popular because I know it's one of my most popular ones. Just other ones have kind of taken it over. Trading using candlesticks by the dip 401. I'll have to put this. Fundamentals, this Peter Lynch taught. This used to be my number 1. Part 3. Maybe it's the part 1 of it. I don't know. It's up there. But you sign up for it. And I'll send it to you. Again, TrendSpider is just the best platform. Second thing that I suggested you get is Seeking Alpha Premium. You save 20%. 20%. It's $189. You get a free 7-day trial. And again, on my newsletter, you get a free 7-day trial too. Then Alpha Picks. If you want anything else, there's a couple of other things. You can get 75 free stocks when you sign up for Webull. Right here, it's the 4th one. Sign up for Webull. AT&T, refer a friend. I have AT&T Fiber. I went over it yesterday. If you're paying anything more than $25 for your monthly phone bill, I save you $20 off your first month. So what you're going to do, you're just going to go down there and save $20 off your first phone bill. Your friend, Gary, gives you $20 off your first phone bill. What's your first phone bill? Well, your first phone bill is only $25 because we go and check out our plans. I've got the $25 a month plan. That's what I use. It's perfectly fine. The $45 one includes a smartwatch. This is on the Verizon network. It's the best network out there for me. So support the podcast. Use it. Okay, we're at 49 minutes. I thought I went an hour, but 49 minutes. Thought it was a pretty good show. If you have any questions, hit me up. on any of the platforms. Again, the newsletter you can reply to, put a comment on, whatever you want. 9:30, we're opening up. I'll do an indices check. Let's see. My personal portfolio. Everybody's interested in my personal portfolio. I will tell you at open today. Let me just get into it real quick. At open today, my personal portfolio, which is indexed towards the NASDAQ, not totally. The NASDAQ is up 1%. My personal portfolio is up 0.5%. And it's driven by Apple, because when I go to all positions, Apple is down 0.31%. So I will not be up by 1% when Apple is driving my portfolio. So again, don't follow me, because you want to. We all have different risk profiles, but I'm up 0.5%. It's not bad for me. I'll take it. Any day that I'm up, I'm pretty happy. I mean, I don't care about the dollar amount. I just care that it's green versus red. Yes, I have down days. I've had quite a lot of down days, but the majority have been green days. So if you have any questions, hit me up. Okay, say bye. Now, why can't I stop the recording? Whew, okay, it stopped. GCT wasn't it? Good morning, Daniel. I think GCT is okay as long as it holds 25. Yes, I think so too. I think you're going well below 25 if it doesn't. Paramount Global, thoughts they're in talks to be bought by Sony. Paramount Global, you're just hoping that somebody buys them. I mean, it's in Sherry Redstone's hands. Paramount Global is just 100%. Why is it? I guess is my internet going down? Did snow drop? Let's see. Elf should rip it on the open. Why is this doing this? Let me get into this. Bum bum bum. Wah wah. I think it's my internet. I don't think it's my internet. No. As long as I'm still up on this, let's see. Paramount Global, here's Paramount. We're going to go to Para. You are just hoping that somebody buys them. And the latest indication is that the potential might be $15 a share, but it's all in Sherry Redstone's hand, Andres. Andres, I just don't know. It's not where I want to put my money. You can take a look at the weekly. If you go bottom up, upper left to bottom right, not a stock I want to be in. They're losing money. It's not a good position to be in. What the hell is Jim Cramer doing? Ugh. God, he's putting on a show at a convention or something. It's just not making. I mean, it's got an 11.51 profitability. It's not great. It's just not great. The sector median's 39% on the gross margin. So I don't like it. If they're bought by Sony, great. It's all in Sherry Redstone's hands. So I don't like it. Now let's look at Snow. Did Snowflake drop? Snowflake again. Snowflake, if you want to, people started taking the chance to, it's a what, 4% candle? Let's go to the 5-minute. And we can look at the after hours. And look, it's just the open. That's the open. That's people selling on the open. That's algorithmic selling. That's people saying, hey, I'm going to get out at this 170. That's a buy opportunity to me. So if you want to get into Snowflake, get it. Get it. Now, ELF, we go and look at ELF. We talked about ELF. This is at 178. Again, ELF, their outlook was bad, but if you believe in it, this was an opportunity to buy it in the pre-market because you saw it start to come up. And it's momentum. We talk about momentum a lot. And momentum is it's the strongest force in the market. You can't fight momentum. Momentum on the way down, momentum on the way up. So, again, you look at this channel, and if you think that this channel is a good one, you could probably even move this down to probably there. I mean, you're touching 3 points there. And yeah, you're looking at about a $200 stock. Momentum is a strong force. Yeah. Tyler, it's a good, for those that use it, they tout it. Sherry talked about, ELF a while ago. I think in the, she was talking about it in the 30s or 40s. And it runs so much. But it's good. That's a really, really good one. So, Apple's down. Don't fall asleep on Amazon. I don't want, we talk about Amazon, having this 188 as resistance level. I think there's going to be news that just will rip that one right past. That's why it's one of my largest holdings. It's nowhere close to Apple. I mean, it is nowhere close to Apple. But we talked about how that 188, you can see it in July of 2021, November 2021, and how now it's kind of boned up against that 188. But I wouldn't fall asleep on it, because once it gets past there, I think it wants to go to 250. I think that's where you're kind of looking at it. So, but yeah, let's see. Is Tesla up? Did Tesla hold? Nope. Tesla pulled back a little bit. We got Eli Lilly up. We've got Costco under 800. Costco's showing a little bit of, we're kind of capping out there. Their earnings are coming up, and God, when are they going to do a membership increase? Coke, we talked about Coke all the time. This is a $60 stock. When you got up here at 63, 64, time to start trimming, because you're probably coming back down here to 59 at some point. It is a sideways right now for the last 2 years. It's been a sideways moving stock. When it dips below its 200-day, you buy it. So this is how TrendSpider helps. When you look at your portfolio and you just take a look at this kind of, 5 minute, 4 hour, daily, weekly. I have it all set up. Okay, I am out of here. I got to put this together. Then I got stuff to do. Thank you guys for tuning in and listening to me ramble on. This one's an interesting one. This is the blue chip growth. I got my dad into this one a while ago. And it's ripped past its highs, its previous highs. So, they just started this one in 2020, I think. Yeah. So algorithm does pretty well on this one, to be honest. 57%, but buying and holding 78%. So protects you from the downside. Still has you in 36. You can see it got you out there. So it saved you from $2. But okay. I'm gonna go. It's hot in here. ELF. The only thing with ELF is that their guidance was not great. But then people were like, "Well, kind of makes sense." Well, we can go and look at ELF here. It's the valuation. The valuation is crazy high, but when you price in the growth at 1.28, they're trading 45% against the median, down 45% against the median. So, and that's a good thing, because when you're lower on your PEG ratio, it's better than being higher. When you're over, you're just overpriced against your growth. PE 48 versus the sector median 17. I picked Ulta, which was the actual, the wrong pick. I wish I had picked ELF, but I picked Ulta. So it is what it is. And again, we talk about momentum. Momentum is such a strong force. And it just took it over with, even Lulu. I think Lulu's an interesting one at 300, but I did look out below. I mean, you know, you look at 5 years on this one, and it just hasn't done much. I mean, you go back to 2020, it was a great mover, but